The alarm bells rang across Luna Station like angry metal birds. Commander Jake Harrison ran down the white hallways as red lights flashed on every wall. His boots made loud sounds on the metal floor. Other officers ran past him with scared faces. Something big was happening. Jake reached the command center and saw chaos everywhere. Dozens of people sat at glowing screens while others shouted orders. The main screen showed Earth floating in space like a blue marble. But today, something was different. Strange signals came from everywhere at once. "Sir, you need to see this," said Lieutenant Amy Foster. Her hands shook as she pointed at her screen. "Every radio, every television, every phone on Earth is getting the same message. Even our military channels." Jake looked at the screen. The message was written in perfect English, but the words felt cold and wrong. It said the same thing over and over again. The Galactic Council demanded Earth's surrender. In 30 days, humans must give up all weapons. Humans must never leave their solar system again. Humans must kneel. "How many species are in this council?" Jake asked. 12, sir. All of them older than our entire civilization. They have been watching us for years. They know about our wars, our weapons, everything we have done. Jake felt his stomach drop, watching them for years. That meant aliens had been studying humans like bugs under glass. They knew every battle, every mistake, every time humans had fought each other. And now they thought humans were too dangerous to live free. On Earth, President Kate Adams sat in a room full of worried faces. Generals, scientists, and world leaders all talked at once. Everyone had opinions, but no one had answers. Dr. Lisa Morgan, the smartest person Jake knew, stood at a big screen showing alien symbols. "The message has layers," Dr. Morgan said. "Hidden data streams embedded in the transmission. They have detailed files on every major conflict in human history. Every nuclear test, every space mission. They see us as a threat." General Alex Turner, a man with gray hair and tired eyes, spoke up. "What kind of threat? We barely have 100 ships in space. Our biggest weapon could maybe destroy a city." "That is exactly the problem," Dr. Morgan replied. "Other species took thousands of years to develop spaceflight. We did it in decades. Other species stopped fighting wars before leaving their planets. We brought our weapons with us to the stars. To them, we are like children playing with fire." Admiral Ryan Cooper showed pictures of Earth's fleet on his tablet. The ships looked impressive to human eyes. Sleek metal giants floating near the moon. But if 12 alien species wanted to destroy Earth, these ships would be like paper boats in a hurricane. "We have 12 capital ships, 40 destroyers, and maybe 200 smaller vessels," Admiral Cooper said. "Against a galactic council, we might last an hour." President Adams looked around the room. Every face showed the same thing. Fear. Not fear of dying, but fear of watching everything humans had built turn to dust. "What are our options?" "Surrender," said one general. "Live as prisoners in our own solar system." "Fight," said another. "Die as free humans." "Hide," suggested a third. "Run to other star systems and hope they never find us." Jake Harrison listened to these words through his communication device. His hands made fists. Surrender meant no more human children would see new worlds. Fight meant no more human children at all. Hide meant living like scared animals forever. He looked out the window at Earth. That blue world had made something special. Humans who never gave up. Humans who climbed mountains because they were there. Humans who sailed across oceans not knowing what waited on the other side. Humans who looked at the stars and decided to visit them. The alien message came again on every screen. The same cold words. Submit. Surrender. Neil. Jake turned to his crew. Good people who had left Earth to explore the galaxy. People who dreamed of meeting aliens as friends, not masters. Their faces showed anger now instead of fear. Lieutenant Foster, open a channel to all Earth Defense Force ships. Channel open, sir. Jake took a deep breath. His next words would decide everything. This is Commander Harrison to all vessels. You have heard their message. They want us to surrender our freedom. They want us to promise never to leave this system. They want us to kneel down like dogs. He paused and looked. At Earth again, I have a different message for them. We are humans. We have never knelt to kings. We have never bowed to emperors. We will not start now. If they want us on our knees, they can come and try to put us there. The response came quickly. Every ship captain sent the same message. Not one human vessel would surrender. Not one human. Crew would abandon Earth. They would stand and fight, even if it meant dying. President Adams heard Jake's message in her meeting room. She saw the fire in every military officer's eyes. She knew what her people had decided. Send our response. To the Galactic Council, she said. Tell them Earth refuses their ultimatum. Tell them if they want our submission, they will have to take it by force. Tell them we said no. Dr. Morgan uploaded the human response to the same channels the aliens had used. The message was short and simple. Earth would not surrender. Earth would not kneel. Earth would fight. Across the galaxy, 12 ancient species received humanity's answer. Some laughed. Some felt insulted. Others began planning the easiest conquest in their long history. They had conquered hundreds of worlds. They had defeated civilizations with millions of years of experience. What could one young species possibly do against their combined might? Soon, they would learn the answer, and they would learn why humans had survived ice ages, plagues, wars, and every disaster their world could create. They would learn that sometimes the smallest dog bites the hardest. The war was coming. Earth was ready. The alien fleet appeared like a wall of stars at the edge of the solar system. Captain Amy Foster stood on the bridge of the UES Guardian and tried to count the enemy ships. She stopped at 200. There were too many to count after that. My God, whispered Lieutenant Ben Carter at the tactical station. Each one of those ships is bigger than our entire space station. Amy looked at her crew. Good people who had signed up to explore space, not to die in it. Engineer Maria Santos worked at her controls with steady hands. Navigator Steve Martinez plotted courses to nowhere because there was nowhere to run. They all knew this was their last day alive. Captain Foster, this is Admiral Cooper. All ships prepare for engagement. Amy pressed the communication button. Guardian ready, sir. 12 human ships faced hundreds of alien vessels. The math was simple and terrible. But humans had always been bad at math when it came to giving up. The alien fleet moved toward Jupiter like a slow avalanche. At the front flew the flagship of Admiral Ziktar, a creature that had conquered worlds when humans still lived in caves. His ship alone was larger than New York City. They are not even trying to hide, said Captain Dan Phillips from the UES Independence. They think this will be easy. Good, replied Captain Steve Martinez from the UES Liberty. Let them think. That right up until we prove them wrong. The human ships spread out behind Jupiter's radiation field. Amy had studied every battle in human history during her training. Thermopylae, where 300 Spartans held off thousands. Rorke's Drift, where 100 soldiers fought 4,000. Humans always did their best work when things looked impossible. Guardian to all ships, remember, we are not trying to win. We are trying to buy time. Every minute we keep them busy is another minute for Earth to prepare. The alien fleet reached Jupiter and stopped. Admiral Ziktar sent a message to the human ships. His voice sounded like metal scraping against stone. Small creatures, You have fought well for your species. Surrender now and die quickly. Continue this foolishness, and we will make your planet burn for 1,000 years. Amy looked at her crew again. Maria Santos smiled and gave her a thumbs up. Ben Carter cracked his knuckles and prepared his weapons. Steve Martinez just shrugged, like they were going to a football game instead of their deaths. This is Captain Foster of the Earth Defense Force. We have a message for you, too. Go to hell. The battle began with light and thunder. Alien energy weapons cut through space like angry lightning. Human nuclear missiles flew back at them like metal wasps. The Guardian shook as enemy fire hit their shields. Direct hit on the Liberty, shouted Ben Carter. She is still fighting. Independence is breaking apart. Wait, no. She is ramming that cruiser. Amy watched Captain Phillips drive his ship straight into an alien vessel 10 times its size. Both ships exploded in a ball of fire that lit up Jupiter's clouds. One alien ship dead. Only 400 more to go. Guardian, we have a problem, said Maria Santos. Their shields are not working right against our nukes. What do you mean? Their energy shields stop energy weapons perfectly. But our primitive nuclear explosions are confusing their systems. We are doing more damage than we should. Amy smiled. Trust humans to be so backwards that being backwards was an advantage. All ships focus nuclear weapons on single targets. Their shields cannot handle our Stone Age technology. The human fleet attacked like a pack of wolves. Fast, smart, and mean. They used Jupiter's radiation to hide their movements. They attacked from directions the aliens did not expect. They broke apart and came back together in patterns that made no sense to military minds that had conquered the galaxy through predictable tactics. Admiral Zektar watched his perfect battle plan fall apart. These humans fought like wild animals. No formation, no discipline, no sense. They should have been easy to destroy. Instead, they were everywhere at once, biting and clawing and making his advanced fleet look stupid. Sir, we have lost 12 ships, reported his tactical officer. 12 ships? To these primitives? They are not fighting like any species we have encountered. They ignore our formation and attack from impossible angles. They sacrifice their ships to damage ours. It is madness. Admiral Zektar had conquered 47 worlds. He had never seen anything like this. Other species fought with honor and logic. They protected their ships and retreated when outmatched. These humans threw themselves at his fleet like suicide bombers who laughed while they died. Captain Foster, this is Admiral Cooper. We have lost 7 ships. Time to execute final protocol. Amy knew what that meant. The surviving human ships would attack the alien flagship together. None of them would survive, but they might damage the enemy commander enough to slow down the invasion. Understood, sir. All ships form up on the Guardian. The 5 remaining human ships grouped together for their last attack. The UES Guardian, UES Liberty, UES Defiance, UES Courage, and UES Freedom. 5 ships against 500. Bad odds even for humans. They flew straight at Admiral Zektar's flagship, like arrows shot from a bow. Alien weapons tore them apart as they charged. The Courage exploded first, then the Freedom. The Defiance lost half her hull, but kept flying. The Liberty's engines died, but she kept shooting. Guardian, this is Cooper on the Liberty. My ship is dead, but my crew is not. Tell Earth we made them bleed. Amy watched the Liberty crash into an alien destroyer. Admiral Cooper's last gift to his species. Now only the Guardian and Defiance remained, racing toward the enormous flagship. Maria, how much power do we have left? Enough for one good ramming speed, Captain. Ben, are our nuclear weapons still working? All of them, Captain. Enough to crack a small moon. Amy looked at the alien flagship, growing larger in front of them. Inside that ship was the mind that wanted to make humans kneel. Time to teach him what humans did to bullies. This is Captain Foster to Earth Defense Command. Guardian is beginning final attack run. Tell my family I love them. Tell Earth we never surrendered. The Guardian and Defiance flew into the cloud of alien fighters, surrounding the flagship. Energy weapons tore pieces off both ships. The Defiance exploded just before reaching the target, but her sacrifice cleared the path for the Guardian. Amy saw the flagship's hull rushing toward them. She armed every nuclear weapon on her ship. For Earth. The Guardian smashed into Admiral Zektar's flagship like a bullet hitting a tank. Nuclear fire consumed both ships in an explosion that could be seen from Mars. The alien fleet's commander was dead, along with his entire bridge crew. But the alien fleet was still there. Hundreds of ships, now angry instead of just confident. They had lost 30 vessels to 12 human ships. Impossible, but true. Now they would make Earth pay for that embarrassment. On Luna Station, Commander Jake Harrison watched the battle end. Every human ship was gone. Every brave crew was dead. But they had bought Earth precious time and taught the aliens something important. Humans do not go gentle into that good night. Sir, said Lieutenant Foster, long-range sensors show the alien fleet moving toward Earth. Estimated arrival time is 6 hours. Jake looked at Earth one more time. His home, his species, his responsibility. The real war was about to begin. 6 months had passed since the alien ships turned Earth cities into burning ruins. Colonel Mike Johnson crawled through the rubble of what used to be New York City. Above him, alien patrol ships hummed through the sky like metal insects. Below him, in the subway tunnels, humans planned their revenge. Mike, we have movement on Fifth Avenue, whispered Sergeant Laura Kim through her radio. She was the best demolitions expert he had ever seen, and she had turned the city into a maze of hidden explosives. How many? Mike asked, pressing himself. Against a broken wall. 3 hover tanks, maybe 20-foot soldiers, same patrol pattern as always. Mike smiled in the darkness. That was the aliens' biggest mistake. They followed patterns like machines. After 6 months, the human resistance knew exactly where every patrol would be at any time of day. The aliens thought they had won the war. Their newspapers talked about the successful occupation of Earth. Their leaders gave speeches about bringing civilization to the savage humans. But they had never fought an enemy that treated occupation like a game. In the tunnel below, Corporal Andy Rodriguez worked on his radio equipment. He was a communications genius who had figured out how to hack alien technology using parts from old televisions and car radios. Every day he intercepted their messages and learned their weaknesses. Colonel, I am picking up something interesting, Andy said. The alien commander is complaining to his superiors. He says humans are impossible to control. What does he mean? Well, sir, apparently we keep doing things that make no sense to them, like when we blew up that supply depot last week. They cannot understand why we would destroy valuable resources instead of stealing them. Mike laughed quietly. The aliens had conquered hundreds of worlds, but they had never met a species that preferred to break things rather than take them. Humans would rather starve than eat alien food. They would rather freeze than live in alien shelters. And they would definitely rather die than obey alien laws. Lieutenant Sarah Williams, the team medic, treated a wounded resistance fighter in the corner. She used medical supplies stolen from alien hospitals because human medicine was running low. But even their medical technology had weaknesses that humans could exploit. The alien soldiers are getting sick, Sarah reported. Their immune systems cannot handle Earth bacteria. They have to wear full protective suits just to breathe our air. Good, Mike said. Let them suffocate in their own armor. Above ground. The alien occupation force struggled with problems they had never faced before. On other worlds, conquered species accepted defeat and tried to make the best of their situation. They cooperated with their new rulers and hoped for better treatment. Humans did the opposite of everything. When aliens built checkpoints, humans built secret tunnels around them. When aliens posted rules, humans broke them just to prove they could. When aliens tried to set up puppet governments, humans ignored them completely and created their own hidden networks. Commander Vorth of the hegemony species stood in his command center and stared at reports that made no sense. His soldiers controlled every major city on Earth, but somehow they controlled nothing at all. Humans simply refused to be controlled. "Sir, we have another problem," his aide reported. "The human rebels destroyed another food distribution center." "Why? Do they destroy their own food? Do they want to starve?" "Unknown, sir. Human behavior does not follow any logical pattern we understand." Vorth had conquered 12 worlds in his career. On every previous planet, the local population eventually accepted their new reality and began working with the occupation forces. Some even welcomed the advanced technology and stable government the Galactic Council provided, but humans were different. They seemed to prefer chaos over order, freedom over safety, and pride over survival. It was the most frustrating enemy psychology he had ever encountered. Deep in the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Lisa Morgan worked in a hidden laboratory that the aliens had never discovered. She studied captured alien technology and learned their greatest secret. For all their advanced science and superior weapons, they had become soft. "Tony, look at this," she said to Dr. Tony Clark, her research partner. "Their computer systems have no defense against random input." "What do you mean?" "They have spent so long conquering civilized species that they have forgotten how to deal with chaos. Their systems expect logical attacks from logical enemies. But humans are not logical." "Doctor." Clark smiled as he understood. "So if we feed their computers completely random data, their systems crash trying to find patterns that do not exist. We can shut down their entire network with digital nonsense." Meanwhile, in the asteroid belt, Commander Jake Harrison flew his small fleet of hidden ships between the rocks like ghosts. His crews had learned to live on captured alien supplies and modified human technology. They struck at alien convoys and disappeared before the enemy could respond. Captain Jenny Walsh, his best pilot, reported from her modified mining ship. "Jake, we have a supply convoy heading toward Mars. Looks like food and medical supplies for the occupation forces." "How many escort ships?" "Just 2. They are not expecting trouble out here." Jake made his decision quickly. Human resistance fighters on Earth needed those supplies more than alien soldiers. "All ships, attack formation. Let us go shopping." The human ships attacked the convoy like pirates from old stories. They were outnumbered and outgunned, but they had something the aliens lacked: desperation. Humans with nothing left to lose were the most dangerous creatures in the galaxy. Lieutenant Chris Parker, Jake's intelligence officer, boarded the captured alien supply ship. Inside he found not just food and medicine, but something much more valuable: computer files containing the locations of every alien base in the solar system. "Jake, we hit the jackpot. This ship has their entire operational database. Download everything and send it to Earth. The Resistance needs to know where to hit them next." Back on Earth, Colonel Johnson received the intelligence data just as his team prepared their biggest operation yet. The aliens had built a massive communication array in Central Park. It connected their Earth forces with their home fleets across the galaxy. "Lavra, how much explosive do we need to level that entire array?" Sergeant Kim studied the alien structure through binoculars. "All of it, sir. Every bomb we have saved for 6 months. And what are our chances of surviving the mission?" "0, sir." But we will take their communications down for weeks. Mike looked at his team. Andy Rodriguez with his captured alien radios. Sarah Williams with her medical supplies. Lavra Kim with her homemade bombs. All of them ready to die to hurt the enemy just a little bit more. People, we have been fighting this war for 6 months. Some folks might say, we are losing because they control our cities, and we live in holes in the ground. But I think we are winning. How do you figure that, sir? Asked Andy. Because 6 months ago, they thought humans would surrender after one battle. Now they need 1 million soldiers just to hold one planet. They came here expecting to rule us. Instead, we have turned their conquest into a nightmare that never ends. A team prepared for their suicide mission with the same calm determination that had kept humans fighting for 6 months. They would destroy the alien communication array, and other teams would hit other targets. Each small victory would add up to something bigger. The resistance was growing stronger while the occupation grew weaker. Soon it would be time to take their planet back. The aliens had won the war, but humans were going to win the peace. And after that, they would win everything. Else, the underground war continued, one explosion at a time. The captured alien ship drifted in space near the asteroid belt like a metal whale. Commander Jake Harrison floated through its corridors with Dr. Tony Clark, both of them wearing spacesuits stolen from dead alien soldiers. The ship's computers held secrets that could change everything. Jake, you need to see this, Tony said through his radio. His voice shook with excitement. These files are not just tactical data. They are historical records going back millions of years. Jake pushed himself to the computer station where Tony worked. The alien text scrolled across the screen in patterns that hurt human eyes to look at. But Tony had learned to read enough of it to understand the important parts. What did you find? The Galactic Council is not what they claim to be. They were not always the rulers of the galaxy. 1 billion years ago, they were rebels fighting against an even older empire. They won their freedom through unity and resistance, just like we are doing now. Jake felt his heart beat faster. Are you saying they used to be like us? Exactly like U.S. Look at this battle report from their ancient war. They used guerrilla tactics, suicide attacks, and asymmetric warfare. They turned their enemy's technology against them. They inspired other species to rebel. It is like reading our own playbook. The irony was perfect and terrible. The Galactic Council had become the same kind of oppressor they once fought against. They had forgotten their own history, and now faced the same tactics they had once used to win their freedom. Tony, can you transmit this data to Earth? Already doing it. But Jake, there is more. The database contains communication frequencies for every species in their empire. Not just military channels, but civilian broadcasts. We can talk directly to their conquered populations. Jake smiled inside his helmet. For months, the human resistance had fought alone against impossible odds. But now they could do what the ancient Galactic Council had done. They could inspire others to join the fight. On Earth, Colonel Mike Johnson read the transmitted files in his underground bunker. The historical data was interesting, but the communication frequencies were pure gold. His team could now broadcast to alien worlds across the galaxy. Andy, can you modify our transmitters to reach other star systems? Corporal Rodriguez looked at the technical specifications on his screen. It will take some work, but yes, sir. We can piggyback our signal on their own communication network. They will never see it coming. Dr. Lisa Morgan worked with Andy to create the first interstellar broadcast in human history. The message was simple but powerful. Earth had not surrendered. Humans continued to fight despite overwhelming odds. Other species could do the same. The key is to show them that resistance is possible, Lisa explained. For millions of years, they have been told that the Galactic Council cannot be defeated. We need to prove that wrong. The first response came from a species called the Kethvar in a distant star system. Their leader, War Chief Gokter, sent a coded message through the alien network. His people had been defeated 50 years ago after a long war, but they had never forgotten their desire for freedom. "Humans of Earth," the message said, "we hear your call. The Kethvar remember what it means to fight for freedom. Tell us how we can help." More messages followed from other conquered worlds. The Zephyrians, who had been enslaved for 300 years. The Morvek Republic, which had lost its independence just a decade ago. The Stellar Federation, whose home world had been turned into a mining colony. Each species brought different abilities to the growing rebellion. The Kethvar were natural warriors with advanced weapons technology. The Zephyrians were master engineers who could build anything from spare parts. The Morvak had the best intelligence networks in the galaxy. Commander Jake Harrison found himself leading not just a human resistance fleet, but an alliance of free peoples from across the stars. His flagship, the UES Rebellion, carried crews from 6 different species, all united by their hatred of the Galactic Council. "Captain Kevin Scott, take your squadron and hit the supply depot at Europa. The Kethvar will provide fighter cover." "Roger that, Admiral," Kevin replied. He had been promoted 3 times in the last month as the Resistance fleet grew larger and more organized. The liberation of Earth began with a coordinated strike on every major alien installation at the same time, while Resistance cells hit targets. On the ground, the Alliance fleet attacked from space. The aliens found themselves fighting on dozens of fronts. Simultaneously, Major Lisa Chun led the assault on the Asian occupation zones, while Captain Rick Davis coordinated strikes across Europe. Each team used tactics they had learned from their new alien allies, combining human unpredictability with advanced technology. The alien communication array in Central Park exploded in a ball of fire that could be seen from orbit. At the same moment, similar explosions destroyed alien bases in London, Tokyo, Moscow, and Sydney. The occupation forces lost their ability to coordinate just as they faced their largest uprising. Commander Vorth watched his carefully planned occupation collapse. In a single day, reports flooded in from every continent. Human rebels attacking with weapons that should not exist. Alien species he thought were safely conquered, providing support to the Resistance. "Sir, we are receiving surrender demands from the human leadership." His aide reported. "Surrender demands? From the rebels?" "Yes, sir. They say we have 1 hour to evacuate Earth or face total destruction." Vorth laughed bitterly. "Tell them we have 1 million soldiers on this planet. We are not surrendering to terrorists." But the laughter stopped when his sensors detected the fleet approaching from the outer system. Hundreds of ships from dozens of species, all flying toward Earth with weapons charged. At their head flew a human vessel, broadcasting a simple message. "This is Admiral Jake Harrison of the Galactic Alliance. You are ordered to surrender immediately and leave this system. Any alien forces remaining on Earth in 1 hour will be destroyed." Vorth realized he was not facing a simple rebellion anymore. This was a galactic war, and his forces were completely outnumbered. The humans had done something impossible. They had united the galaxy against its own rulers. President Kate Adams broadcast from New Geneva, the rebuilt capital of Earth. Behind her stood representatives from 12 liberated worlds, each one holding the flag of their free nation. "People of Earth, people of the galaxy," she said. "Today we have proven that freedom cannot be conquered. Today we have shown that unity is stronger than oppression. Today we have taken back our worlds and our dignity." The alien occupation forces began evacuating Earth within the hour. They had come as conquerors but left as refugees. The Galactic Council's empire was collapsing as more species declared independence every day. Dr. Morgan, established the Alliance Research Center on Mars, where scientists from dozens of worlds worked together to share technology and knowledge. The goal was not to build better weapons, but to explore the galaxy as partners instead of enemies. "We have a lot of work ahead of us," she told her diverse team of researchers. But for the first time in 1 billion years, the galaxy has hope. The tide had turned completely. The hunters had become the hunted. The rulers had become the ruled. And humanity, the youngest species in the galaxy, had become the teachers of freedom. But the war was not over yet. The Galactic Council still controlled hundreds of worlds and thousands of ships. The final battle was coming, and it would decide the future of every living being in the galaxy. The Alliance was ready. The final battle took place not above some distant alien world, but in the council chambers of New Geneva on Earth. Admiral Jake Harrison sat across a table from the surviving members of the once mighty Galactic Council. Between them lay documents that would reshape the galaxy forever. Former Admiral Ziktar's replacement, a tired creature called Mordock, spoke in the universal language that had been developed for diplomatic meetings. "You have won, humans. The Council accepts defeat. But what happens now?" President Kate Adams looked around the room at representatives from 43 free worlds. Each species had suffered under Council rule. Each had good reason to want revenge. But Kate remembered something her grandfather had told her long ago. The true test of victory is what you do with your enemies after you defeat them. "What happens now is that we build something better," Kate said. "Not a new empire with different rulers, but a real alliance of free peoples." The war had ended not with massive space battles, but with the simple collapse of the Council's authority. When half the galaxy declared independence in the same week, the remaining Council forces could not fight everywhere at once. Their empire had crumbled like a house of cards in a strong wind. Dr. Lisa Morgan presented the proposed constitution for the new Galactic Alliance. She had worked with legal experts from dozens of species to create a system of government that protected individual rights while allowing for collective action. "Every species keeps its independence," she explained. "Every world governs itself according to its own traditions. But we work together on common problems like trade, exploration, and defense." War Chief Gokter of the Kethver stood to address the assembly. His people were natural warriors who respected strength above all else. "The humans have proven that freedom is worth fighting for. The Kethver pledge our ships to defend this alliance." Similar promises came from representatives of the Zephyrians, the Morvac Republic, the Stellar Federation, and dozens of other species. Each brought their own special abilities to the alliance. The Zephyrians would explore new star systems. The Morvac would handle trade and communications. The humans would coordinate military defense. Commander Jake Harrison, now fleet Admiral of the Alliance Navy, outlined the new military structure. "We will not have an army of conquest like the Council did. Our forces exist only to protect member worlds from outside threats and to help new species join the Alliance as equals." The former Council members listened to these plans with growing amazement. They had expected harsh punishment, forced labor, or execution. Instead, the Alliance offered them a chance to join as regular members with the same rights as everyone else. "Why are you not destroying us?" asked Mordock. "We enslaved your worlds. We killed your people. By the laws of war, you have the right to eliminate us completely." Kate Adams smiled. "Because that is not who we are. Humans learned long ago that revenge only creates more enemies. We would rather turn enemies into friends." Dr. Tony Clark had spent months studying the Council's technology and history. He discovered that their species had not always been evil conquerors. Millions of years ago, they had been explorers and scientists who brought knowledge and peace to the galaxy. Only after centuries of easy victories had they become arrogant and cruel. "We want to help you remember who you used to be," Tony said. "Your species made great contributions to galactic civilization. You can do so again, but as partners instead of masters." The negotiations continued for weeks as the new alliance took shape. The most difficult question was what to do about the Council's advanced technology. Some species wanted to destroy it to prevent future oppression. Others wanted to use it for peaceful purposes. Sarah Williams, now serving as the Alliance's medical coordinator, proposed a solution. We share everything. Every species contributes their knowledge to a common database. No one gets to keep secrets. That could give them power over others. This principle of open cooperation became the foundation of the new galactic order. Scientific discoveries, technological advances, and cultural achievements were shared freely among all member species. The result was an explosion of progress that benefited everyone. Captain Kevin Scott, now Admiral of Exploration Command, led the first joint expedition to the galactic edge. His fleet included ships from 12 different species, all working together to map unknown regions of space. They discovered 17 new star systems and made contact with 3 previously unknown civilizations. "This is what we should have been doing all along," Kevin reported from his flagship, "exploring together instead of fighting each other." On Mars, Dr. Morgan's research center had become the intellectual heart of the Alliance. Scientists from across the galaxy worked side by side to solve problems that no single species could handle alone. They developed new forms of medicine, clean energy, and space travel that improved life for billions of beings. The former Galactic Council worlds adapted slowly to their new freedom. Some struggled with the concept of self-government after millions of years of being ruled by others. The Alliance provided teachers and advisors to help them build their own democratic institutions. Colonel Mike Johnson, now General of Alliance Ground Forces, established training programs to help former enemy soldiers become peacekeepers and disaster relief workers. "Everyone deserves a second chance," he said. "Even our former enemies." President Adams addressed the first full session of the Galactic Alliance Assembly from the same podium where the Council had once delivered ultimatums. Behind her stood the flags of 87 member worlds, each one representing a species that had chosen freedom over servitude. "A year ago, we were told to kneel," she said. "Today, we stand together as equals. We have proven that diversity makes us stronger, not weaker. We have shown that cooperation achieves more than conquest. We have demonstrated that freedom is not just a human ideal, but a universal truth." The assembly erupted in cheers from creatures with different languages, different bodies, and different ways of thinking. But they all shared the same dream of a galaxy where no one knelt to anyone else. Jake Harrison retired from active military service and became director of the Alliance Naval Academy on Mars. His first class of cadets included young beings from 30 different species, all learning to work together as officers in the Alliance fleet. "The universe is big enough for all of us," he told them on graduation day. "Your job is not to conquer it, but to protect it. Not to rule it, but to serve it." In the gardens of New Geneva, children from Earth played alongside young beings from across the galaxy. They spoke different languages and came from different worlds, but they played the same games and shared the same laughter. Dr. Morgan watched them from her office window and smiled. This was what they had fought for. Not just human freedom, but the freedom of every species to grow and learn and play together. The galaxy had learned that the strongest force in the universe was not military might or advanced technology, but the simple refusal to surrender to injustice. The Galactic Council had told Earth to kneel. Earth had said, "Come try." And in trying, the Council had learned what humans had always known, that freedom was worth any price, and that the greatest victory was turning enemies into friends. The stars belonged to everyone now, and everyone was finally free to reach for them together.